everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do another candid conversation about the wedding industry, but not just wedding industry. It's going to be wedding industry / small business in a very specific niche of a small business that you don't get any more niche than this. So this is Virginia Brown, a live painter.
Yes.
And I don't want to put you in the bubble or in the window of weddings only.
No,
Okay.
I don't do just weddings.
Correct. So
Yeah.
that's what I really want to talk about. It's not just the wedding industry. I want to talk about small business, about how you got into this, how it started, where the whole beret and brush came from.
Yeah.
Let's start like in the beginning, because I want to start with you were an assistant for somebody else before. So let's start with that.
Yes. Back in 2021, actually, once the world was starting to open up again, that weddings started to become, people are getting out, they're going to more weddings. I got a job working for a photographer, and it was just being an assistant. It was, hey, can you hold this? Can you grab this? But what was cool about this photographer was that he would give me creative freedom as well. I'd be like, oh, what if we do this with the bride? So it was a lot of really like helping him as he's shooting during the day of the wedding. And I fell in love with weddings. Because as a wedding photographer, you're really in it with the bride and groom all day. Like,
Right.
Not mom and dad, not the bridal
Correct.
party. You guys are their best friends, capturing everything. And I at the time was even having my own wedding party. I had gotten married 2 weeks before COVID, but
Oh, wow.
because of COVID, we moved the party to November of 2021. So I was working for him while I'm in the middle of, doing my own party.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot of fun because then it was also like, okay, what am I forgetting? What can I add before I have my own wedding? And it was just a great time. And it was my first introduction to entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So I had always worked a 9-to-5 or worked for somebody else or worked in a job that you had to clock in. And this was the first time that I was working with somebody who's making their own job, who's their own boss, who makes their own schedule, who dictates everything. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. It's heavy, but it's cool. And so a few months later, sadly, it didn't work out as far as just, budgets and, trying to figure things. Because the thing with entrepreneurship is always ebbs and flows. I don't think it's
Very much. I feel like it's very accurate. Very accurate. I think everybody thinks like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, you've been in this longer than I have, but I feel like nobody's like, okay, yeah, now I can just coast and I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, you're always having to be creative and pivot and make moves, and so.
Virginia, I feel like pivot is probably the most accurate word I have heard in the last 2 years, because there's no such thing as coasting, especially now post-COVID. There's no coasting anymore. It's ebbs and flows, ups and downs, hills and valleys, and all the way through. And there's not any coasting anymore. I feel like if you don't pivot, you're going to get lost.
You're going to quit.
You're going to quit.
Have to.
So did you always live paint? Did you always have the creativity to paint? Or was it more of the painting bug came after the assistant of photography?
So the painting bug actually kind of goes back to just after college. So I wasn't an artist. I've never gone to art school. Never
I did not know that.
Yeah, so no art school here.
Kudos
this is
to you.
Completely self-taught.
Self-taught.
Yes, so actually the original plan, I went to military school for biology. I went up to Norwich University. I had a 4-year or a scholarship, full Army scholarship. So the original plan was to go into the Army to become a combat medic. So where I was great was that I could max the fitness test, because in the Army, you have to maintain a certain requirements. And my school was a military school, but also ROTC. So while I was getting my education in my Bachelor's of Science in Biology, I was also working towards training so that when I graduated, the next day I would also commission in the Army. The requirements were that you had to maintain like a 2.0. So the 3 requirements were that you had to maintain a 2.5 like GPA. That wasn't a problem. You had to pass a fitness test. I didn't have any problems with that. Like, I was doing rugby at the time, so I could run a 2 mile in 14 minutes. But the hitch was that you have to maintain a certain height and weight per the BMI scale And even at my fittest, at my fastest, I was still always like that far off.
Yeah.
And so my junior year, when I turned 21, because I protected that scholarship, everything about it. But when I was 21, obviously I was legal then, I could drink. And drinking slowed my metabolism. So when I was always this far, now I was like this far. And so I lost my scholarship. So I didn't go into the Army, but I did graduate. And then after college, I came back to Connecticut and I'm like, okay, what now? And I'm thinking like, as a child of the 90s, like, okay, this is great. Like I went to college, I should be able to get a living job, like living wage job. And that was not the case.
Interesting.
I was doing entry-level jobs left and right, always trying something different. But it meant that I was very poor and really like scrounging with like, $50 to $100 in my bank account at a time. And at like 22, like friends are getting married. And I don't have money to buy their registry, let alone like any like special gift for them. But I could go to Michael's or Ocean State Job Lot and pick up, a few like acrylic paints and a couple canvases for under $10. Paintings aren't expensive. Well, they are expensive in materials because you keep adding up and you keep buying more colors. But initially, it was something very much that I think like the first gift it was a baby shower gift. That it was their first baby. And they were Catholic, so I did a very lion and the lamb kind of portrait. I'm like, oh, this is really actually kind of good. And they really appreciated it. They loved it. It was almost the most popular gift. And I was like, wow, okay, so now I'm hooked. I didn't think of it as a job or a career.
Correct.
This was just a hobby to show people I loved them when I was poor.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until COVID that I first saw the introduction to live wedding painting. And I saw someone on TikTok do it, and they were phenomenal. And the work that they do, they still do, is amazing. It's like a 3-foot by 4-foot canvas in like 6 hours that they can finish. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And that's the last thought I had of it.
Yeah.
So fast forward to when I was working with the wedding photographer, and then I got laid off. I went back to the 9-to-5 searching for another job. And like, this is a very like speedy testimony because there's a lot of jobs in there, a lot of pieces, a lot of jobs that I didn't sit well with or I wasn't settling in because like, I can't do the same thing every day. Like my creativity, like I'd get in trouble.
I understand that. I understand that completely. So, I was a machinist during the day and a photographer after that as a hobby, and it's not the same. I just felt like, I can make a tool and things like that, but I just felt like my creativity was stifled.
Yeah.
Because of the 9-to-5.
Yes. No. And I think boredom breeds this intensity of I need to create.
Good point.
I need to do something.
Good point. Like an outlet. You needed like an outlet.
I needed an outlet, and often got in trouble because sometimes the outlet would come out during, an 8-hour shift. Yeah. Depending on what it was. And so while in the 10 years or so in my 20s, while I'm doing these entry-level jobs, the impact that these paintings made when I gave them to people, I was hooked.
Yeah.
And so that was my drive to get better. But I didn't take any formal art classes. Most of it was YouTube University or scrolling on Google, Pinterest. Like if I knew someone had, a black lab, I would look up black lab pictures and paintings and try to copy it. And then that would be my gift to them.
Yeah.
And they loved them. To this day, a lot of people still have them in their house. And the only reason I don't give them to those people anymore because I'd give them for birthdays, anniversary, Christmas. So it got to fill up all their walls.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like when I started this whole thing with the word niche.
Yeah.
There's 2 words when I think of Virginia Brown in live painting and what you do. It's unique niche. It's very unique in what you do because not anybody else around here in New England, in my opinion, or Western Mass, in my opinion, is doing it to that level of what you're doing. And you and I met through Rising Tide. You are now the president of Rising Tide in Hartford, Connecticut, right?
Hartford, yeah.
In the Hartford, Connecticut. I will leave all the information down below about the description, but let's just pivot for just a quick second from the beret, because I want to find out where the beret came from.
Yeah.
But Rising Tide, you took over that and you started undertaking, in my opinion, was a very big undertaking when it came to that, because that was a passing of the baton in regards to you taking over. And I was not surprised when you took it over. And then when I heard that you're taking over, I was like, you know what? That's going to be a good fit. I was surprised, but not surprised, because it was a big undertaking to do something like that. And you've been doing that for not a year yet. It's
not
coming
a
up
year
on the
yet.
first year.
September will be the first.
So
yeah.
let's just quickly talk about how you got into Rising Tide and where is Rising Tide now, and where do you have any events coming up anytime soon? So let's plug that. Rising Tide.
Rising Tide. So.
Hartford.
Really kind of came out of my first year as a business and being like, I need to network.
Yeah.
I need to network like crazy. And that's where I'm just going to any networking event that I can find, whether it's small business, real estate. Then I start to, follow photographers and where are they going for the wedding ones. And so literally the reason I found Rising Tide Hartford was because someone had posted on their Instagram of a photographer I was following saying, hey, we went to this event, and I'm like, oh, that looks really cool. And Rising Tide is another networking group, and there's a lot of networking groups out there, but this one is specifically for creative entrepreneurs.
Yeah, not just photographers.
Not just photographers, any kind of creative entrepreneur.
Creative entrepreneur.
Yes, it was started by photographers.
Correct.
But especially our chapter, we've got a couple of planners in there.
Yep.
We've got a couple of marketing agents in there.
Yep.
We might have photographers, but they're not specifically wedding.
Correct. Some are portrait.
Yep.
Some are boudoir. Some are pet too.
Yes.
So so it's not just, it's just a creative. It's creatives meeting.
Yes.
I feel like that right there is like a window that you could put them in. That Rising Tide is any and all creatives that want to meet and network. This is your place.
Yes.
Live painters to planners to photographers to. Doesn't matter what it is.
Absolutely.
All right. So do you have any events coming up?
So we will
When's your next meetup?
I got to decide. Because I don't know if it's August or September, because we did find that people are away, or if you're a photographer, like you're super busy this year.
Yeah.
So so right now I've got a couple of like coffee and co-working events that I will put together, and it's literally that's super low key. It's show up with your laptop, get whatever work you need to get done. Maybe collaborate or just shoot some ideas around and meet some people.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, you do get a lot of work done at these coffee and co-workings. I used to think that I would just go there and it'd be like a book club where you're supposed to be talking about the book and you end up like, just catching up with people. And no, I mean, it's free to do as you want. Yeah. But definitely in the fall, we've got a couple of people that I'm starting to schedule and line up who are supposed to speak wisdom. So it's not necessarily that you have to be this expert in your field.
Good point.
It's more about, because again, like entrepreneurship, you're making your own job description.
Ooh, good point. Yeah.
And that
kind
feels
of like as you go along.
As you go, yeah. I mean, you're kind of making it up as you go, and that can feel it feels unstable. There's nothing secure about that. So when you're surrounded by other entrepreneurs who are making it up as they go, it's really encouraging that it's like, okay, you're doing this, you've gone through several low seasons and you survived it. So people have been there, they get it. They're just like, really hyping you up and keep going, keep pushing. Have you tried this?
Yes. It's a very encouraging networking collaboration with people.
Like
it's
one of the
encouragement all the way across.
Yes.
It's there you can help somebody else by what you've been through, and they can help you. Like if I've been through 4 or 5 slow seasons and somebody's just coming into their first one and they're in panic mode, it's okay. It does come back. There's ebbs and flows. So go ahead.
There's ebbs and flows. And I think like the biggest thing that, like one of the simplest things that came out is like, I was telling people like I'll get an inquiry, I'll talk to the bride on the phone, she'll get all excited, and I'll send over the contract, and then she just ghosts me. And I'm like, why is this happening? And a photographer is like, well, get both of them on the phone. because she's just going back to her fiance with
Good
price
point.
tag.
Good point. That's good advice.
He's not fallen in love.
Yeah.
He has no idea what
Yeah.
you are and what you're about.
Correct.
She does, but
All
he doesn't.
sees is a price tag.
Yeah. You need to make it about him too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, duh.
Yeah.
Like that should be a duh, but it's not. Most of the time we just talk to the bride and like see,
I already have a hard enough trying to get one person on the phone because everybody's busy, let alone trying to get
two people
on the phone.
Well, if they're local, I try to entice them with coffee or going to a local
Great point.
business.
Like if it's an in person, hey, I'll meet you for coffee. I'll bring some things to kind of show you about what I do.
Yeah.
Then they can put something tangible to the conversation as opposed to just a speaker on speaker. Hey, so and so's here. Good point. I feel like that's good advice.
Well, it's because what I'm doing is very personal. I'm making a painting, so I want them to kind of like, you need to know I'm your friend because I'm going to be painting this and making decisions about your painting throughout. And I want you to feel comfortable with me and know that I'm going to make this for you because one, you like me, you understand like we'll connect over something. And so every time I make a brush stroke, it's to make you happy. And so that's where I feel it's very vital to have those one-on-ones. And again, it's over coffee. So it's not like another business meeting in another corporate office. Exactly.
It's 30 minutes tops.
Yes. And then when it helps my community is I'm going to small businesses. I'm not doing this at Starbucks.
Yep.
So I'm doing this at like the Bean in Windsor or a local brewery or something like that.
Yeah. And I feel like that is another way to kind of incorporate the small business minded aspect of it. So, all right. Anything else about Rising Tide?
Come. We're usually at Parkville Market the first Tuesday of the month from 6 to 8. So I tell people to come early because if you've ever been to Parkville Market in Hartford, there's a ton of food options downstairs.
In my opinion, too many.
But
it gives you variety. Do I feel like eating that or do I feel like eating that?
Well, and that's the thing is you can get pizza or you can get like sushi or you can get shawarma or you could get mofongo. So it's like every ethnic food under the planet. So you got to do a couple laps. And you can eat during
the meeting, so it's just a conversation. If somebody, I spoke a couple of months ago about social media and about the importance of social media. So you had me speak on that. And again, thank you very much for doing that. I really appreciate that. It was a good opportunity for me, and I feel like it's one of those benefits of getting in the room with other entrepreneurs to see how they do things, how they did things, and what didn't work for them, but some people it did work for. So because you and I have completely separate niches, we both do the same things. You paint that memory in canvas. I take that picture in film and or digital. So concept is the same because what we do is we capture that moment. We're going to talk about this coming up pretty soon, this specific moment. But this is what we do. So as an entrepreneur and a business owner, we can still connect on that level of business and entrepreneurship, regardless if it's separate spectrums, ends of the spectrum.
Well, I needed that because when I first started live wedding painting I knew of 2 other artists who were doing it, but they weren't willing to take on an apprentice or really do community. And that's fine.
And that's okay.
Because that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And that's a very extroverted thing to ask somebody who might be introverted.
Good point.
So I had to pivot and be like, okay, where else can I learn the business from?
Yeah.
And I'm like, the next closest thing is photographers. Yeah. Your marketing is the same. Your process is the same. The only difference is the service we offer on the day of.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
very, very good point.
Yeah.
All right. Where in the world did the beret come from? Because I don't think I've ever seen you since we met with Rising Tide without a beret on your head. Where did that come from?
It only happens once in a while when it's too hot because they are wool.
Yeah. Where did that come from?
So originally,
let me start with this.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Because it separates you. It separates you from just not an ordinary person. There's something specific and different about you, appearance-wise, that's just like, wow, that's intriguing. How many people do you see with a beret on your head? Go.
Yeah. So when I first started my business, it was called Me is VB Art. It was an email that I had, and it was something that I developed in COVID. And it looked stupid, it sounded stupid, and I knew I needed to rebrand. And so the photographer that I had been working for previously was a great mentor in helping me get started. in that he's like, okay, let's talk branding. And in talking branding, it was, who's your ideal clients? Like, what do they do? Where do they go? What do they shop for? Where do they go for vacation? Like, who are they? So that you're not always selling from, okay, this makes sense to me. Doesn't matter if it makes sense to you. It has to make sense to them. And so I was going back and forth for months. It took like 6 months to figure out a name, because I would look up what are other live artists doing? What are they saying? And so a lot of artists...
For inspiration, not for copying.
Yeah, for inspiration purposes.
Yep.
And seeing if there's kind of like a trend or a feel, because I am doing this, I'm offering the same service, but obviously how I paint is different.
Yeah.
And so, and it works for some artists to have their names in their business, and that's great. I felt that I'm always hearing people say, like, I don't remember names, or I'm not good with names.
Good point.
So I ran off of that, and then I was also following someone on Instagram at the time who, her story was inspiring because she was going to law school, but she had her art business on the side. By the time she graduated law school, she made more with her art business than she would as a lawyer. And so she called herself Mill and Meadow. So I saw that, I'm like, okay, what if I do objects instead? Because also at the time, I didn't want to just pigeon myself into just weddings.
Good point. By putting painter in your name.
Yes.
Got it. That's smart.
Yes. I didn't want to do just weddings.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, well, I'm always going to have a paintbrush. No matter what I do, I'm going to have a paintbrush for the project. And then I'm like, what else would stick out? So the beret is kind of a nod towards my grandparents. Because
I did not know that.
Yes.
Good for you.
So my grandfather was a colonel in the Army during World War II, and he actually ranked up super quick because he was a civil engineer during World War II, and nobody wanted to be the officer for an all-black regiment. But he stepped up and said, yes, I will do it. Wow. So he was building airplane strips in the Pacific with, black soldiers. So my grandmother was back here in the States, and she was, part of the Army Officer Club, Wives Club, and she was developing community for the wives of the black soldiers that my grandfather was looking after. So she was making sure that at home, they were forming community.
Okay.
And so in the 40s and the 50s, being an Army officer wife, you're kind of in that kind of like sophisticated elite. You go to the nice parties.
Good point. Good point.
And so after World War II, they moved to Paris. So she was always wearing a beret, but she was always in the room with political figures.
Okay.
So she was kind of a progressive badass for the 50s and 60s.
Okay.
But again, bringing across elegance and kind of sophistication wearing the beret.
Yeah.
And then also it ties back to, okay, well, here I was expecting, I went to military school, so I thought I was going to be wearing an Army beret. Here I am still wearing a beret under a different scope. So it's just, it plays kind of into this whole like, okay, I thought my life was going to go one way, but now it's completely different, but yet still has nods of, okay, we're still on the same track, on the same plan.
Yeah. So beret and brush.
Yes.
So where can they find you on social media?
So my main Instagram is beret and brush.
Okay.
On Instagram.
A-N-D, beret and brush.
Yes, and you got to spell out the and. Yeah. But I do have 2 Instagrams because the thing is, like, I'm not just a wedding painter. Correct. I do a lot of other things.
Yeah.
So my beret and brush, you will see all my art.
Okay.
All of it.
Okay.
The beret and brush _ wedding painter is just wedding stuff.
Okay.
And so, but the beret and brush, I mean, you'll find both of them.
Yep.
But yeah, because I do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I can't sit still.
All right. Let's pivot from weddings because I want to go back to this and where this came from because I love the story behind this. So not just weddings. So let's talk about what else you do. I heard you hate cats. I'm totally kidding.
I'd be like, no!
I'm totally kidding. If you see and you don't see like a cat someplace in her vicinity and or being painted by that, and I want to talk about murals too.
Yeah.
So not just live painting for weddings. What else do you do for painting and or related to business?
So I also host paint and sips.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that later.
Yes.
You and I had a conversation, which I'm still.
Okay, we're still doing that. Yeah.
I'm right there. I just need to get the details out with you. But
okay.
we'll put that on the side. We're not going to mention it yet.
Okay, so we do paint and sits.
Yeah.
I do murals
Yep.
also. Anything that's like 9 feet or below. I haven't gone on a scaffold yet, so it's a lot of more of like interior, like an office or like a small business.
Yeah.
And then also taking commissions.
And cat cafes, correct?
Cat cafe.
What is the one that you go to in Connecticut?
So I work during the week at the one in Glastonbury called Marcy's Angels.
Okay, perfect.
And so, yeah, like it's Starbucks, but better because it's a small business and it's with cats.
Yeah.
So you can always come in and grab a cup of coffee, sit at the bar, and then there's a window that separates. And it's great because there's a lot of people who are allergic to cats. They can still come. It is completely total separation. So you can come get coffee.
I did not know that. I have an allergy to cats and dogs' hair, so it's funny you said that. So that could be that's also so okay. So how does the cats, because you also paint pets also. Okay, let's talk about that.
Yes. So, and last year my dad had sent me the article in the Hartford Courant that the cat cafe was opening up, and I had been following cat cafes on Instagram for almost a decade because I thought they're such a cool concept.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that one was coming to Glastonbury, I, like the dork that I am, emailed the owner, and I'm like, I don't know how. I want to work with you at everything like possible. I don't know how. And she's like, okay, cool. Like, and so when it started, a lot of people, kind of switching back to the wedding world-ish, is that a lot of people have been asking me for the guest portraits. And I'm like, what if I bring the guest portraits to the cat cafe? Because these are very simple, impressionistic, like something I can draw in like 10 minutes.
What is a guest?
So think of it like a caricature artist, except for they're not
That's not what you do. See?
Yeah, they're not goofy.
I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like I just want to address this really quick.
Yeah.
You don't do caricature.
I don't do caricatures. I'm doing like very simple portraits.
Got it. Okay. And I want people to know that and understand that. This is not just a caricature person coming to your wedding. This is a live painter. So now, now we distinctive. Those are two separate things.
These are two separate things.
What is the guest thing that you were just talking about?
So the guest portraits, yes. So like you'll have like 75 or 100 people at your wedding, and I will take a picture of your guests, or I have an assistant because honestly I'm too busy because I'm literally drawing, passing, and there's these little really quick impressions of the guests, but they're kind of more like fashion sketches. So I'll do them in watercolor and then wait for it to dry and then come back and outline it. And they're just very simple but meaningful little gifts that people will have me do at their wedding for their guests. So there's that. Now bringing it to the cat cafe, I'm like, when you come to the cat cafe, if you want to go in and pet the cats, you have to reserve a time, and usually it's about 50 minutes. So what people do is they'll come in, they'll get registered, they'll have their coffee, and then I'll say like, we've got a lot of cute cat stuff, or I can draw your cat for you. You just text a picture to me. So people will text me pictures of other cats or dogs. I do just as many dogs at a cat cafe. And then by the time they come out, they have this illustration and this nice portrait of their pets. And where it has been incredibly impactful is a lot of people who come to the cat cafe either have suffered some kind of tragedy, just lost a pet. And so this is a very small, meaningful way that I cannot take away the pain of the loss of a pet. Been there, done that, I'll do it again. I've had several cats over my lifetime and will. But what it does is it eases the weight of the grief. It's not as heavy. It helps make the process a little bit more just like, okay, at peace. And so that's where I love to connect with people on that. And then I get to also tell them about the other things that I do. So now it's physically putting me in front of people who are coming through a swinging door and saying, hey, I make art. And I can make it to whatever capacity you want it. Yeah. And I have art that's cheap, medium, and expensive.
Nice.
So that
any
way, any range. So there's art for anybody.
I love that because I feel like people might feel like there's a price tag that comes along with what you do, and it's like, oh, why add another thing to the budget that we can't afford? Yeah. There's options in there. Now, do you have a website also, or just Instagram?
No, I do have a website, and I'm actually we're changing the platform in the next month.
Good. Okay.
So Right now,
is the name going to stay the same?
The name's going to stay the same.
So what is the name?
You'll still find me at beretandbrush.com.
A-N-D, so it's
A-N-D, yes. You always got to spell out the A-N-D.
Correct.
But yeah.
So they can find you on the website and social media.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So what else do we want to talk about? We already talked about the who, how you came up with the beret. I love that story. I feel like that's my favorite part, is because it's something that's just sentimental and meaningful to you, but it literally depicts what a painter is. Mm-hmm. I love it. All right. The what, the where, located in Western Massachusetts, or do you travel, or just Connecticut?
So I'm out of northern central Connecticut, but I travel everywhere.
Okay.
I'll go to Hawaii if someone pays me to.
Yeah, I'll go with her. Live painter and photographer. We'll have a collaboration. All right. And I got the why part already, so we already talked about that. So now, this right here, this image here is not one that you were hired to do for the wedding day. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about what you did for this client on the wedding day, and then how you came across this for them.
Yes. So I actually on the wedding day was booked to do their first dance. So the couple actually has a portrait of their first dance that I did. And then they had posted their wedding pictures several months later. And the thing with art is that I'm always looking to get better. I'm always trying to study things. And a lot of the paintings that I had done so far were kind of more candid. And I'm like, I want something that's a little bit more intimate and spicy. And so they had posted this picture. It's of them kissing in the elevator at the Hartford Town Hall. And I'm like, I got to paint that. And I was actually working on a portrait colors. I asked their permission.
Okay.
I did ask their permission.
Great point. Great point.
Because obviously, I don't have a lot of wedding paintings to show because I give them to the couples.
Yes.
So I asked them, hey, can I'm taking an art class to try to get better with portraits, because faces are hard. Faces are always something that you keep working on. But I also need a sample to bring with bridal shows or to show that I'm valid, because, a lot of people say, okay, I do art. And unlike going into a room and saying, hey, I'm a doctor, if you're an artist, you kind of have to spend the first 5 minutes kind of impressing them that you're a real business person. You're not just this cute little person who just doodles on the side.
Yeah.
As valid as that is, but you have to show your professionalism. And so really having a piece of art to show your professionalism is kind of the signed, sealed deal. And so I bring this one this year. I will start working on another one in the fall.
Good for you.
Because I get better every year.
Yeah. And I think that's smart. You're starting to build your portfolio. So when you turn your canvas over to the bride and groom, do you take a digital picture of it so you have it for your website okay.
Yeah.
And then they get the original physical canvas to go with that. Good.
Yeah.
And I feel like that will still show other people what you've done, and first, more importantly, what you can do.
Yes. No, it shows growth. And I think that's huge, because as I've networked with entrepreneurs, even other artists, nobody wants to see oh, I've just had my crap together the whole time and it's easy, and it's not. It's a lie. So the more that you have obstacles, or you say, hey, I'm learning, or I'm improving on this, it shows growth and it shows relatability.
Yeah. The word I just heard was evolving.
Mm-hmm.
You evolve. Even as a photographer, what I was doing 10 years ago is nothing near what I was doing now.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, technology has changed, and cameras have changed, and lightings have changed, and techniques have changed, and so on and so forth. But what I've done then to what I'm doing now, there's been an evolution to what I've done. Same thing with live painters, and same thing with what you do. And I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like every portrait and every canvas and every guest portrait and every cat and every dog, everything you do, you get better each and every time with doing something a little bit better along the way, or learning more techniques along the way. You just get better as you go along.
Yeah. No, I mean, art is very much one of those, it's kind of between, understanding the rules of art, but also understanding them to the level of where you can start to break them and really play with it. And I think that is the beauty of the art industry, in that there are artists who have gone to art school. There are artists who are self-taught. And I have 90% of the artists that I've met don't care. you've worked hard. You didn't just get this. Talent is not something you just get.
Great
It helps you.
point.
You get a nice step up, but it's something you got to keep working on.
Great point. I feel like I've never been, as a photographer, I've never been asked, where did I study photography? Never. They come in here, they look at my wall, they see my images, they don't care what school I went to. They don't care.
Yeah.
I am self-taught. I learned how to do all of this. Now, does that make me any better than somebody who went to school and paid the money and did that? No. It just makes us different in that sense. Same thing with somebody that's been trained and went to school or went to Paris and learned how to paint and learned how to draw and has a degree in it. Doesn't make them any better or worse than you, and vice versa. Because the end result, the wedding couple that comes to you, they're just going to say, oh my God, I want you to do that at my wedding.
Yeah. Ultimately.
They don't care where the degree came from. They don't care if you're self-taught or if you went to school. And I'm not trying to separate and say one's better than the other. Okay? I'm just saying.
The world would have us do that, but this community hasn't.
Correct.
And that's the beauty of it, because I think that, at least what I have met, is I've met a lot of, the few artists that I have met that have gone to art school have almost felt like art school put a lot of like criticism in their ear. Like they learned the technique, they learned
Great point.
Posture, they learned how to play with oil.
Yeah.
Oil is a completely different thing for me. I've learned on acrylic. It was cheap, it's fast drying, I like it. Oil is long, it's expensive, but it has a nice buttery texture that some people like.
So there's a benefit to it, but the drawback is it takes longer and it dries. Okay.
So it's not a good medium for learning.
Good point.
I think.
Good point.
My experience. But other artists who have gone to art school may have felt that way. But because they may have had a teacher that said, oh, it's cheating if you do this, or it's not professional if you do that. No one's told me that. So I've played without permission. I've just created.
Played without permission. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh my God, I love that.
Because if I make a wrong stroke, okay, fine. Like I made a wrong, maybe it's a wrong stroke, maybe it's not. Like it's totally up to me.
The wedding couple is not asking. You know what they're asking for? When they call me up, they ask me how many weddings I do per year. They ask me if I have business insurance. They're not asking me where I went to school. They're not calling you up and say, hey, did you go to whatever prestigious school to learn how to? Nope. This is what I do. And this is my process, and this is how I do it, and this is what I produce, and this is what I deliver. Yeah, that's all they're asking for. Yeah. And I feel like the end result, if you are looking for like that documentary style, that person that went to the schools to learn all of that stuff, if they're looking for somebody that went to a prestigious, Paris or France or Italy to paint whatever and learn all of that, then that's not your client.
They're not my client, and I'm more than willing to send them to the person who did, because that's the thing, is that there are artists who did that. And they're great, and they're phenomenal.
Great. And they're great, I agree.
Because I literally had like a client reach out to me that she had seen a live painter at her niece's wedding, and then she got one for her son's wedding. And
I remember that story.
But she wanted me to do it in a fine art style.
Okay.
And I'm like, I wouldn't consider myself a fine artist.
Okay.
Or at least not in the way that she was envisioning. Because she showed me the arts.
Good point.
She showed me the paintings that they had from the previous 2 weddings that she knew of. So she wanted a fine artist. So she showed me pictures of what the artists, or the paintings that had been done that she had experienced. And I'm like, that is a very different style. And I don't think that I can create it to the way that you're expecting if you're expecting these 2 types of paintings. And so I sent her to 3 or 4 other artists who I know had that specialty and could create that painting for her. Because, I mean, worst case scenario, I do that and I give her my stuff and she's like, it's not what I wanted. And now I have a really mad, customer. And so, I mean, art is very subjective. You either like it or you don't.
But she was happy with what you delivered.
I didn't end up doing the job for her. I sent her to other artists to do it.
Because she wanted the fine art.
Yes.
Got it.
That's really what she was looking for.
I feel like that was very smart of you to do. You know your lane, you know your strength, and if it feels like it's a little bit out of that stretch of what you can do, hey, I really don't do like that. Here is a person that could do something like that. And I feel like that's very smart to do something like that.
Well, and again, like understanding the limitations of my art and also like the community that is artists. Like I started a Facebook group for connecting artists with painters because art is so subjective. So it's like USA live wedding painting. And so a bride will come in or a customer will come in and say, I'm having this date at this time at this location with this budget. And this is what I'm looking for. And then all the artists who are available or interested will then
Comment from
there.
Smart.
And so, because again, like this is such a specific niche that still a lot of people don't know about.
Good point.
That if I don't get the job, I want somebody else to.
Yeah.
If I'm already booked,
Yeah.
I want someone else to. So that also, when the occasion arises, they're booked, they send them to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or they're thinking of me.
Yeah. I think,
So-
and I feel like that's smart in being that connector between two people that either I'm booked, I can send you to somebody else. I feel like that makes you not a better person, but I feel like that's smarter. And I feel like that makes you more of a, the rising tide about community over competition. And
It's
I feel
genuine.
like it's very genuine. That's a great word to use. It's very genuine. I can't do that or I'm booked. Here's somebody that can accommodate that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
What advice would you give, doesn't matter what the business is,
Mm-hmm.
what advice would you give somebody that's been doing a business for 1 year and they want to level up?
Oh man, get yourself in the room with smarter people. Like get yourself in the room with smarter people
Networking
because
then would
like
be like the
networking
base,
wise, yeah, because you need those people to feed wisdom into you, and in another year, 2 years, you're going to be feeding the person who's starting in a year.
That's great advice.
That also, you're just getting started. If it feels like failure right now, you're doing it right. You just got
Networking,
started.
yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, you're going from a 9-to-5 corporate idea of what a job should be, which means I start like day one and maybe there's 2 weeks of, training, but then I'm getting my paycheck and then I'm settled in within the first month to 6 months. That is not entrepreneurship in any way, shape, or form. Like, you need to give yourself grace that you are building this wheel from scratch.
Yeah.
And it takes time, it takes material, it takes education, it takes wisdom. So if that means that you have to get a part-time job or a full-time job to fund this, do that.
Do that.
Yes. I mean, like, a lot of people are like, yeah, you don't really, I mean, making it is such a dangerous term because that's so vague on what making it looks like, and paying your bills and doing what you need to do. But like, there's always this temptation to quit. There's always this like, okay, I've put so much work and I've worked so hard for this and it's not where I think it should be.
Good point.
And you really need to surrender that idea of what I think I should be at this time is, because you don't know. You as a photographer have said over the last 10 years, you shoot differently than you did 10 years ago because you've pivoted so many times. And so how does that relate to how are you farther in ways that you never expected you were, and then how are you behind on ways that you thought you were?
So if somebody is, we already talked about giving advice when it comes to that. One thing that I do like with what you do is the hyperlapse that you do with your phone. And I want to encourage you to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's not only entertaining, but it shows you're physically drawing this with your hands, and it's something that takes time to do. So you've done hyperlapse with your murals. I saw that one of your murals you did a long time ago. It was no scaffolding because it's 9 feet or under. But you've done another one before where it showed the beginning blank wall and then the end. Then you did a hyperlapse of how you sketched everything out and painted and stuff like that. Keep doing that because I feel like it shows the progression and the evolution and evolvement of what it looked like to what it ended with. So keep doing those behind the scenes with that stuff like that. It's very entertaining for people to see that, and it's good for social media, and it keeps people entertained when it comes to that. But it also, the end result shows you what you can produce.
Yes.
And I feel like that for you is the best thing you could do, is what you produce starts literally from a blank canvas.
Yeah.
There's nothing on your canvas when you start.
Yeah.
So you do paint and sips, cat cafes, you pet paint, you paint pets and draw pets, acrylic and water, not just subject to weddings. You do animals and anything like that. Is there any other like like babies or anything else like that you've gotten involved
Babies,
with?
I try to stay away from babies.
Okay.
Because babies are very, like that is something I will hopefully do in like 5 years.
Okay.
Babies are hard. People are hard.
Good
Babies
point.
are hard.
You've already mentioned that.
But yeah.
You've already mentioned that.
But like I know I have my first like nude commission coming up, and that was a whole like, okay, how do I like approach this? And you know, after meeting the couple, this is something that they've wanted for 20 years, but trying to find the artist to do it and doing it in a very tasteful, elegant form is like, oh, now I'm excited because this is something outside of the box. Because I think if I just did weddings, I'd eventually get sick of weddings. If I did just paint and sips, I would get sick of them because
I can see that.
It starts to some degree, it is kind of the same
repetitive
flow. Yes.
Yeah.
And so the weddings for me are my Everest. Those are like trying to solve a really hard math problem. The paint and sips are where I get to teach and I get to connect with the community and I get to empower somebody because these paint and sips are not formal art classes. They're very much date nights.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's
Yeah.
a good point. So it's and you do a lot of talking as you're going through and
Yep.
helping them and stuff like that. So it doesn't matter anybody's level of creativity, first
Yep.
of all, or anything. You literally will walk them through everything that they need to do. And it's just more about having fun and being around your friends and family and things like that. So
No, it's very much, everybody always comes to me.
Yeah.
There's at least 2 or 3 people that say, I can't draw a stick figure. I'm like, that's fine, we're painting. But I'm going to walk you through it step by step because obviously I'm in competition with some of the corporate places. And where I think the corporate places get it wrong is that they hire one artist for like a group of 30 people. And as a teacher, any teacher, there's no way you can be hands-on to help 30 people.
Yeah, in that short period of time.
In that short period of time. And so if I have more than 15 people, I hire an assistant.
okay, good.
I want to make sure that people feel supported in their creativity because I also tell people when they first come in, I'm like, look, I don't care if you paint this or a purple dinosaur. As I've got a whole other box of paint that you have full creative freedom and I'm here to help support that vision.
Yeah.
And so because I'm that safety net and I'm very upfront about you can play, I'm not going to get mad. You can do something completely left field and go rogue.
Yeah.
And I love when people go rogue because usually they'll do like the backgrounds.
Yeah.
And then they'll like, I want to put my dog in instead.
Yeah.
Or I want to put in like Mario or like something.
Anything.
And yeah.
I think the first one I ever did, it might even be the only one that I've ever done. It was raising money for breast cancer for a walk that was coming up.
Okay.
So it was ocean themed. So I drew it as a creative. Even the person that was teaching was like, wow, I can tell you do something creative because I was kind of like very into the wave part of it. I made my wave very, very, specific. And then I put a picket fence in there. And then what I did was I added the pink ribbon for breast cancer awareness on the thing. And that I absolutely love. It's nothing professional, but there's something so sentimental because my mom passed away from cancer. There's something so sentimental about that it was just playing and having fun, but I made it very personal. And I didn't even mean to. I didn't start off that way.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what a paint and sip can do, is you can figure out along the way, be as creative and rogue as you want, just have fun with it. And I feel like that at the end of the night, that's all that matters.
Oh my God, that's why I love it. Like, and the thing is, like, from a business standpoint, like, sure, if I get 2 people that sign up, I'm trying to do this to also sell tickets to make a living. But even from a standpoint, I've had, paint nights where like 1 or 2 people have showed up. And I will still go to those because too many times has it happened where I've had 2 people and they're coming off of their worst week ever.
Great point.
They are, like, I had a therapist.
So it's almost like an outlet for them also.
It's an outlet, and it's just a reset, and it's really hard to paint something and, focus on, drama or anything that's happening outside. You're here, you're in the moment, you're painting, I'm here supporting and moving it along. So it's very healing, and it's very much a reset for people. And because of that, people are like, oh my God, now I can go into my weekend. And I just, like, it touches people different than just, hey, it's Saturday, we should do something together. What are we going to do?
Exactly. So, all right, what else business-wise or painting-wise do you want to talk about?
I I would love to talk about the live wedding painter community because it is growing. And so I know you know me, but like there's a lot of artists, like Cody Rounds is out of New York. Samantha is a guest portrait oriented only artist out of Boston. I know there's also Erin in the area. There's Beth B down in Mystic. There's Jennifer Coley. So there's a lot of artists out there. So we're out there and we can do these things. And even if it's not this, there's a lot of creative ways that we can add personal art to your wedding so that your wedding feels like your wedding. It's not just, another nice room in a white dress.
Great point.
So,
great point.
Yeah.
Great point. And I feel like this is like almost like an icing on the cake you can add to your wedding day.
Yes.
You have a photographer, if you have a videographer, you've got the DJ, you've got all that other stuff that's on there. This is like something to like almost like add to a creative way to add to something extra to your day. If you choose to, when it comes to that.
Well, it's entertainment, because going back to what you said before, is I show up with a blank canvas, and at cocktail hour, I'm just sketching things out.
Yeah.
The only people who know that I'm good are the bride and groom who hired me, or whoever gifted me to the bride and groom. Usually I'm a gift to the bride and groom.
Good point.
But I'm always underestimated at cocktail hour. And then they come back every hour and they're like, oh my God, it looks like them. Oh my God. So I love that aspect of it.
They start to see the evolution of where blank canvas came to, oh my God, I see their faces now. I see this, it's all starting to come together now.
Yeah.
I love it.
And the underestimating thing. And then also like these canvases, like, I don't know if you're, like, did your grandparents or your mother like have something that was just them in their house, like a clock or like a cookie jar or just something that was just so them, like a staple in their home? That's what these paintings become. Yeah. Because these paintings are going to outlive the bride and groom. They're going to outlive me. And it just becomes like that family staple that hangs over the fireplace or just stay at home. Yeah. So not only is it entertainment at the wedding, but it's also like a staple like in the home. Like if your grandma had like a cookie jar that was like, that's grandma's cookie jar, or a grandfather clock or a piece of furniture that's like, that is them. That's what these paintings become.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So anything else you'd like to talk about as far as in the, painting industry?
I mean, the thing is like, when you're an artist, you're always like, oh, you're a starving artist. So it's never an associated form of, okay, you can make a living and be an artist. And I'm here to like bosh that, because I have seen other artists who are supporting their families. They're not just surviving, they're thriving. So it is possible to be an artist and make a living.
Good point.
And I hope that inspires somebody. You have to be bold. You have to be incredibly bold and have this tenacious, like, I gotta keep going. Yeah. And if
it takes time.
And
it takes time.
Really, I mean, if you feel like you're failing, you're actually being resilient. You're not ever labeled resilient until after the fact.
Very good point.
But when you're in the moment, like, and it feels like unstable and messy and you have no idea what you're doing, as long as you keep saying, yes, I'm going for it, you're being resilient. Yeah. So.
And the advice you gave was being part of the networking event, networking with people, get around smarter people, get around people that have been in business longer, and just be in that community part of that. I feel like that was great advice to giving somebody for networking.
Yeah, and not just art community. I've gone to like real estate networking events, because real estate people are probably your best like client, in that real estate people are literally selling a home. They're selling a life. And if you come up in conversation, like, oh, we have this artist to make your new blank canvas that is a home into, okay, this is something that you can go to a paint sip in the area. You can go to this small business. So real estate agents are, even if you're not a real estate agent, great people to network with. Insurance people, because all these people, that might be their 9 to 5, but they all have lives. They all have stories. Yeah. They all have, something to celebrate about their life. So, just because something says like insurance or chamber of commerce or whatnot, like especially as a creative, throw yourself in there. You'll never be told to go or leave that you don't fit. You're a unicorn in the room. You're actually something that's a fresh and a breath of fresh air.
Good point. All right.
But that's it.
All right. That was a lot of information. And as far as, like I said, it's a very unique niche of being a live painter. And I want to thank Virginia for even coming in. So you will find all of her information down below in the description for Beret and Brush, websites, social media, anything like that. Go and follow her. Go and follow and see the things that she's been doing for pets and weddings and things like that. And if it's somebody like that you think might be interested in adding this to their, you know, whether it's a guest portrait or your pet or anything like that, reach out to her and see if there's a connection that you guys can make for something like that. So as always, thank you guys for coming back to the channel. Remember to hit that like button and that subscribe button, and thank Virginia for coming in from Beret and Brush and talking about the wedding industry and things like that. So remember to smile more, because it sure does hurt less. Peace.